Dear beautiful people, today I want to talk to you about why some, when they try meditation, come to the belief that it doesn't work for them and how to overcome this. Well, sometimes when a client asks me about meditation and I suggest them certain techniques, then next session they come into my office and they tell me, well, Julian, what you have been suggesting does not work. And I ask, well, how do you come to the conclusion that the meditation techniques have not been working? And a lot of times they describe to me the following scenario. They are at home, they get rid of the smartphone, they shut every distraction out, they close the door, they sit there with very, very little stimulus, no external stimulus. And then they say, well, I sit down, I watch my breathing, and suddenly thoughts become very, very loud, very noisy, very uncomfortable. I feel a lot of anxiety and very intense emotion. And after 5 minutes, I get up because I cannot take it anymore and I need to distract myself. And then I tell them, well, that is proof that it worked. And they look at me baffled and ask, how do you come to the conclusion that it did work? Yeah, well, I said, you're always like that. Just when you meditate, you notice. The program in the mind runs 24/7 from the moment you get up in the morning until the evening. It's just, are you conscious of it or not? Now, when you start meditating, it is an attempt at becoming intimate with oneself. And there is a reason, for example, why people who cannot be intimate with themselves struggle with relationships. Right? The reason for this is quite simple. They use the relationship as an external stimulus to cover up the discomfort that they experienced that is being produced by their thoughts that they're not aware of. So, if we understand meditation as an attempt to be intimate with oneself, how can we be intimate with anything? That is rather simple. We learn to withhold judgment. We learn to not erect barriers or limitations by filtering the experiences that we're making through concepts. You can be intimate with a flower by smelling the flower. You can be intimate with a book by reading the book. You can be intimate with your lover. You can be intimate with a tree. As long as you focus on the direct experience in the present moment and withhold judgment. The moment judgment enters, we experience a disconnect. So when you attempt to meditate and suddenly the judgment enters, but in truth it is not entering, it was there the whole time, you just weren't conscious of it. But the moment you shift awareness into the body, into the energy field, the breathing, and you become conscious of the moment, that means the timeless forever, the now. In that moment, you will be conscious about the program that runs in the mind. If you sit through this, then you'll experience the gap between the words, the gap between the thoughts. It's a little bit like this. If you're sitting at a lake or a pond, you put your feet in the water. When you start staring up the water, right, you cannot see your reflection in the water because the water is too chaotic. There are waves and they break the reflection. The same thing happens when we constantly judge thoughts. We keep stirring up the water. We not only judge thoughts, we judge all content of our mind. And our ego feels guilty about it. It tells you not to think a sexual thought, for example. It tells you not to think a mean thought because that will be inappropriate. Now, the moment you start censoring your thoughts, you start stirring up the water over and over and over, and there's such peace with that attitude is not possible. If you keep watching your thoughts without judgment, the water will quiet itself. You don't need to control your thoughts. You don't need to eliminate your thoughts. Just let them quiet down by themselves. So sitting through the voices in the mind for a little bit longer than you initially tried to. And you'll find the gaps. Now, when you do this long enough, you will experience peace. You experience peace because you will go beyond thought and experience self. Now, the self that is you is also everything else. That means the moment you can be intimate with yourself, you can be intimate with the world. And the world ceases to be an alien place to you. It ceases to be a strange foreign place where you feel like you do not belong here. So, if you can go beyond your thoughts by being in full acceptance, if you allow yourself to be intimate with yourself, love and relationship becomes a possibility. Contemplate about that. Be well.